This is Vegas All-Net Radio, the final frontier of free speech.
Views and opinions expressed on this program are those of the hosts and guests and do not necessarily reflect those of Vegas All-Net Radio, its affiliates, or its parent company.
And welcome. Thank you for joining us here at Plumbing 101 with Aqua Plumbing this fine Thursday, September 17th, 2 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. Thank you for tuning in. Our phone number here for if you want to call in, 702-483-4444, 702-483-4444. Today we have some special guests here from the Contractors Board, but we're going to kind of ignore them for a little while and get through our normal daily activities. My name's Artie White. I'm the co-owner of Aqua Plumbing here in Las Vegas, Nevada, with my delicious wife, Becky White. She's sitting three people down from me today. So if I say something ridiculous, she can't strike me because her arms aren't that long. That's a good. That's a good day. So again, this is Plumbing 101 with Aqua Plumbing, and we're very glad you tuned in. Our phone number is 702-483-4444. We will discuss several things today concerning the law in contracting. I think homeowners need to be aware of things that are available to them out there in the real world, and the do's and don'ts of hiring a person to work on your most expensive asset you purchase, which is your home, unless, of course, you've got a Maserati sitting in your one-car garage in your duplex. That would be your second most valuable asset, your home. So with that said, I came here in 1973 from Denver, Colorado. Where'd you come from, Beck?
I came here too in 1973.
I came by automobile.
I came via hospital.
Via womb. So I was born in 65. You were born in 73. That makes me a cradle robber.
An old man.
An old man.
Yeah.
We've discussed this before.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. So a little bit more about Aqua Plumbing. We've been in business since 2004.
Yes, we have.
And we do service and repair and remodels, and we perform plumbing services in new construction as well. Small little outfits. You want to go into that a little bit?
We do small tenant improvements. We call them TIs. We stick to the small stuff. We've done restaurants and bars and a supermarket, a lot of medical offices.
That's right. We did Glazier Supermarket. So for those of you who shop at Glazier Supermarket, Aqua Plumbing was in there doing our thing.
That's right. We did.
Very good. Very good. You have a few extracurricular activities that you like to partake in, such as automobile racing.
Yes, I do.
Mm-hmm. Tell us a little bit about that.
I race a 1967 Mustang in SCCA, which is an autocross, a road course type racing.
Very good. And not this weekend, but next weekend we're going to be at the bull ring racing on Sunday morning.
Yes, we are. Sunday morning at 9 a.m.
Well, you're going to be racing. I'm going to be wrenching and laughing.
That's right.
Right.
That's what I keep you around for.
All right. And the race car was built for who?
The race car was built for Relay for Life, which is a cancer awareness association that is nationwide.
Yes, it is. And if somebody wants to have their name on your race car, all they have to do is take some money over to Relay for Life, bring us a receipt, and we'll put the name of their company or their personal name on the car for a year.
Absolutely.
And that helps Relay for Life. Now, did you find out when the car is going to go on display for Relay for Life? Did that lady ever call you back?
No, she did not.
That's not good.
No, it's not.
I guess we'll have to figure out when the car has to go on display, because we do take that car out and we display it at Relay for Life events so people can see it and possibly get their name on the car and throw money at the Relay for Life organization.
You're right.
That's very good. And then we've got some bratty kids at home. Well, they're not at home anymore.
No, they're not at home, but there's lots of them.
There's lots of them, and one's at home.
Yes, but he leaves.
He's got 1 foot on the door sill, 1 foot on a banana peel.
The Marines are taking him.
The Marines are taking him away.
Yes.
So very good. His name is Nathan.
Yes.
18.
Yes.
See, I did some research.
Oh.
I know.
You're going to remember how old our kids are this time?
I know how old the kids are now. And then we've got a ding dong that lives in Reno. Her name's Shelby.
Yep. How old is she?
17.
Oh,
I almost screwed that up.
Yeah.
I had to think about that.
Yeah.
And then Nathan's the only one that lives at home, and we're gonna be alone in that house. We're gonna be empty nesters in February.
After 5 kids, I don't even know what I'm gonna do with myself.
The other day I told him, I said, you're going to the Marines, and we're moving, no forwarding address.
We're not moving.
Now, wasn't it your plan not too long ago to buy a house and fix it up for a year for the next 10 years?
Yes, but then I decided that we're getting more and more grandchildren, so we need to keep the big house.
All the more reason for no forwarding address.
No.
All
the more reason for the big house.
That's true, because we do get to sugar them up and then send them home.
That's right.
Our kids, we told them, this is payback for shit you haven't even done to us. Go ahead, we will babysit your children, and we will sugar them up, and we will send them home. And it's worked out pretty good.
Yep. And on next week, 2 weeks, I'll be able to tell everybody what our new grandbaby is, boy or girl.
You're not supposed to tell everybody. Aren't we having some dumb party for that?
Yeah, gender reveal, but it'll be after the...
Gender reveal. Really?
Yes.
Is that what they call that shit?
That's what they call it, a gender reveal barbecue.
We're going to have a gender reveal barbecue.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So we got 4 grandkids now and a bun in the oven.
Yes.
And Trevor and Kayla are the ones that are responsible for the 3 grandchildren and the bun in the oven. The 2 grandchildren
2.
and the bun in the oven.
Yes.
Making 3 grandchildren.
Yes.
And then Alexis, she lives next door.
She does.
I told her, I said...
How old is she?
20.
Good job. I'm very impressed today, babe.
Well, I was more interested in my story.
I think you have it written all down in that folder.
I do.
Okay.
That's why I'm holding it up. Mm-hmm. I told her, when you move out, the Netherlands are almost far enough. She moved 50 feet. She's our next door neighbor. How the hell does that happen?
She wanted to stay close to her mom and dad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's too close. And then Dustin, we have a 30-year-old son. Dustin, he lives here in Las Vegas. He's got a significant other and a little daughter named Jade. Jade. Yeah, I got her and Jaden confused.
Oh, yeah, Jade.
Jaden's the 14-year-old that put 400 pop rivets in your race car.
Yes, but she's not a grandchild.
I was very proud of her. Yeah, but Jaden,
close.
You can mess that up in a hurry.
You're right.
And then we have a dog.
We do. His name is Artie.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
So that's not confusing in the house, is it? What are my 2 names?
Honey and Daddy.
And?
Asshole.
Right. So when the Doberman Rescue Society came to the house and said, don't you think there's going to be some confusion? The dog's named Artie, his name is Artie, and then you told them, well, his name is Daddy or Asshole, so I don't think there's going to be any confusion. And they went ahead and gave us the dog.
Very unwillingly, I think.
Mm-hmm. It was pretty good. So we're a family-owned business. We've got some technicians that are highly trained and skilled. They're journeyman plumbers, and they can think their way through a problem, and they can make customers very, very happy.
We do. We have wonderful employees that have been with us for many, many years. Most of them, over 20 years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because we had a couple plumbing companies before Aqua Plumbing, and we decided to go ahead and close those doors and move into the service and repair world, and it's been very good for us. So we're very proud of those guys. They're instrumental in going to school and learning all the new codes, and they're very, very smart, very sharp individuals. We're very proud of them. They take the plumbing industry very, very seriously.
Absolutely, they do.
So there's a car show tonight.
There is.
There's a car show tonight on Fort Apache and Sahara. It's at Avery's Coffee.
Mm-hmm. Third Thursday.
Every third Thursday, there's beautiful automobiles you can go up in the parking lot and look at. It's right by the Keller Williams. It's actually right out in front of the Keller Williams office, and they usually set up a little band, and we can go into that Mexican restaurant. And
So does that mean we're going?
No.
Oh, okay.
We might go. I haven't decided.
Oh.
It's not 10 after 3 yet.
Okay.
All right. Very good. So with that said.
Guess what day it is?
Oh, that's right. You wanted to talk about what day? What day? It's Thursday. I told everybody that already.
No.
It's the 17th.
What national day it is?
17th. It's September 17th. It's Thursday. That's national.
You're not being very
It's the same day in Kentucky as it is here.
Do you know what a Monte Cristo sandwich is?
It's a sandwich sitting on the sidewalk of the street right now in the street from us, because we live by Solar in Monte Cristo.
No, that's not what it is.
Oh, okay. What it is?
Today is National Monte Cristo Sandwich Day.
Had I known that, I'd have gone to Firehouse Subs and got one.
I don't think they have them. Both of our guests are just shaking their head at him.
Yeah. Yeah, we brought the contractors board here. I'm starting to think all they do is spend their time in restaurants now. They knew you can't get a Mediterranean. What is it called? Monte Cristo sandwich.
Yes, it is a fried ham and cheese sandwich. It's a variation of a French sandwich, and I'm totally going to screw this up, called a croque monsieur. The Monte Cristo is also sometimes called the French sandwich, toasted ham sandwich, and French toast cheese sandwich.
Sign me up. That sounds really
That's what day it
good.
is.
You're not going to find that shit at Firehouse.
You're not going to find that at Firehouse, no. No, you're not.
What other day is it? I know Kelly gave you more than one.
She did. This one makes me really hungry. National Apple Dumpling Day.
Apple Dumpling Day. We shouldn't be talking about food because I could eat the belly out of a low-flying duck right now.
I stopped at McDonald's on the way here, so.
Mac and nasty. Right on. Very good. Good for you. Good for you. Your tummy will be all turned up a little while.
Probably.
So do you have a funny plumbing story?
No, do you?
I kind of...
I totally didn't even think about it.
I'd kind of like to talk about the one we talked about last week for our new listeners. I couldn't believe that.
Poor old lady. So we're at our cabin and we're watching Untold Stories of the ER. And one of the stories was a poor little old lady that was in her 80s, very thin, and she had gotten up in the middle of the night to use the restroom, and her husband didn't put the seat back down. So when she sat down, she fell in the toilet and got stuck.
And she was a little tiny skinny thing.
So 18 hours later, they finally...
Her daughter found her.
Yeah, well, the daughter found her, and then by the time the fire department and ambulance and everybody got there, they unhooked the toilet from the floor, took her toilet and all on a gurney to the hospital.
And who was the saving day?
The plumbing engineer at the hospital actually had to break the toilet to get her out.
She's in the emergency room. The doctors are perplexed, and in comes the dude with the pipe wrench and the hammer. So we not only save lives by delivering safe drinking water to buildings and removing waste from the building safely, we can also break a toilet off your hiney in the case that were to happen.
In case your husband doesn't put the toilet seat down.
I peed through the hole.
Because you're a good husband. Most husbands?
I want that to be put on record. If somebody could please record this and send it to my attention at my email, I would very much appreciate that. I'm a good husband. That took
when it comes to the toilet.
That took 14 years to come out of her mouth.
When it comes to the toilet, you are a good husband.
All right. Well, speaking of plumbing, is that what this is about?
Yeah, it is.
All right. So what do we specialize in? Mostly fire restorations?
Not mostly.
Not mostly?
No. We do them.
Do we do them somely? Is that a word?
That's what I really like to do, because people who've had their house burn have basically lost everything, and to get their house rebuilt is something that really can make their life change.
Yeah, it's very iconic in their life. I'd like somebody to call in at 702-483-4444, 483-4444, and I'd like to know if somely is a verb.
Look it up.
That's my new word, somely.
That reminds me of Chumley on the on the Pawn Stars.
Yeah,
I don't even watch that show, but
yeah,
I know that name.
I was just going to say, apparently you and Julio have too much time on your hands.
He is at every UNLV basketball game.
Is he really?
He is. On press row.
Oh.
Front center.
Wow.
So kudos to him.
Kudos to him, absolutely. So we do fire restorations, remodels, and one of the things we do a lot of is are in our water heaters.
Yes, we do.
Dead water heaters, leaking water heaters. And we put them always under inside of a drip pan so that next time the water heater fails, the people don't have wet drywall all over their garage. That's probably a good idea.
That's a very good idea.
That's a company policy. I wrote that policy.
I'll give you credit for that one.
Okay. See, I'm a good husband. Good plumber. I'm a forward thinker. See that?
Are you trying to get points today or something?
I got it. Sounds
what
like
did you do wrong that you're trying to get some points?
Well, I do know this. We have reached the 15-minute portion of this hour, and we would love for everybody to stick around, listen to our commercials, and we'll be back in just a few minutes. Thank you for tuning in. Alrighty, welcome back. I hope you enjoyed the commercials. Nobody called in to tell me if Sumly was a verb.
It's not.
It's not? Okay. All right.
It's not even a word.
Yeah, it is a word. I just made it up. I'm going to make sure it gets in the Webster's Dictionary. Sumly. That means you're not going to do the job completely. You're going to do it sumly. Like our kids in chores.
Oh, yeah.
Sumly.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
See that? Sumly. It's a word.
So let's get to introducing our guests that we have here today.
Very good. We have two esteemed colleagues of ours from the Nevada State Contractors Board. Julio Sabatas is here, and Mr. Greg Welch is here. I will let you read their bios since my eyeballs are in the car and I can't read that small font.
Okay, I can do that. Mr. Greg Welch served 21 years in the United States Air Force and the Air National Guard. After retirement from the military, Greg worked for 3.5 years with the Nevada State Board of Architecture, Interior Design, and Residential Design. He then moved to the Nevada State Contractors Board, who he has been employed by for 16 years. Welcome, Greg, to the show.
Yay, yay! Now, I couldn't help but notice when I handed those to you, Greg must have wrote both bios, because his is a half page and Julio's is 3 sentences.
Actually, it's the opposite. Yeah, Julio's is longer than Greg.
Julio
so
must have wrote them. All right,
yeah.
I got you.
And Mr. Julio Sabatas joined the Nevada State Contractors Board in 2010 as a compliance investigation supervisor. I can't even read today. In the board's Henderson office. In this capacity, he is responsible for ensuring investigations into licensed contractor complaints that they are conducted in a professional, timely, and unbiased manner. He works directly with board investigators, homeowners, and contractors to resolve issues concerning workmanship, money owing, and violations of the state's business and contracting laws. Prior to joining the board, Julio acquired 20 years' experience in the residential and commercial construction industries, holding positions of cost manager, land development manager, construction project manager, director of engineering, construction inspector, and technical coordinator. His projects have included the I-4 roadway bridge expansion, the I-215 Section 3A roadway and interchange, the South Valley Pipeline, the Sloan Pump Station, multiple residential communities and developments, and the City of Las Vegas commercial redevelopment project. Julio holds a bachelor's degree in civil engineering from the University of Nevada, Las Vegas.
Go Rebels.
That's why he knows who's at the UNLV basketball games.
That now explains it. I got it figured out.
That's
Yeah.
right.
So-
Welcome to the show, Julio.
So what,
Thank you for
Julio?
having us.
What are you, 90? You did all that. You did all that shit
Chronologically based for 2 weeks in duration.
That's amazing. Well, welcome, gang.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for coming. It was wonderful that you guys would agree to come to the radio show. I think the main reason we wanted you to come is I think there's a message that we need to send to really homeowners more than anybody that they did spend a lot of money on their home and they need to hire a licensed contractor to work on their home. And I think it's really, really important. Just what does the Contractors Board do, fellas?
Go ahead, Greg.
The Contractors Board is a public protection agency, and we were established in 1941. We license and regulate contractors in Nevada. That's essentially what we do.
So when a person wants to become a contractor, there are a tremendous amount of hurdles to jump, financial statements to compile. There's a tremendous amount of work that a person has to do before they can become a company. Do you think that all of those things that they have to do show financial independence, financial stability? They know the laws, they have to take tests, and there's more than one test. Does that give a person value?
Yeah, we believe that licensing is a privilege, and that license does hold value. Like you mentioned already, the requirements to obtain a license are multifold. There is a trade exam specific to whatever profession you're performing. In this case, it would be plumbing. You would be taking the C1 test or any subclassification thereof. Then there is the business side, which is the law exam, which is a 3-hour open book exam.
Ooh. Woo-hoo.
Yeah, and you have to score 70 or better, and it's usually comprised 4 different components. You're taking, you need to be familiar with the statute, which is NRS 624 and the NAC 624. You have to be familiar with the building codes, local building codes, workman's compensation, other insurance requirements. We want you to be familiar with the accounting side of the business. That's just a few of the subtopics that are within the CMS test. Then you also have to be able to demonstrate financial responsibility, right? You have to have the financial wherewithal to be able to conduct business in the state. As part of the application process, we have you submit fingerprints and a disclosure form. So we run a background check to ensure that you are of good character. Anything else, Greg, that we're overlooking?
No, I think you pretty well covered it.
So a person can hire a contractor to come in and perform a plumbing service repair, electrical service repair, HVAC, which is air conditioning service and repair task for that homeowner, and the homeowner can be comfortable in knowing that this person's gone through, not necessarily that person, but the person that employs that person has gone through a background check and is held accountable.
Correct, and it's important to note that our jurisdiction lies within the licensees. So while you have a field representative, our authority goes back to the individuals on that license.
Understood. Very good. So what's the best way for a person, if they have a plumbing problem and they call XYZ, okay, let me back up. They call Aqua Plumbing to come out and take care of their plumbing problem. Is there a place the person can go prior to making the phone call to Aqua Plumbing to make sure they're licensed?
Yes, they certainly can go to our website and go ahead and look the license up of Aqua Plumbing. And on the license readout sheet, there will be a section down there at the bottom if the contractor has been to the board for disciplinary action or has received an administrative citation, which is like a traffic ticket. However, complaint history is not public record. We cannot discuss complaint history with you. We can discuss disciplinary action.
So just to back up, and the website is www.nscb.nv.gov. And what's particularly important is the website is kind of case sensitive when you're searching for the particular names. You can search by name, license number, individual members on the license. My recommendation is to search by license number. That is the most accurate, that is the most succinct way to actually track down a license. And to piggyback on what Mr. Welch just said, on the upper right-hand side of the license, there's going to be a monetary limit that's there. That's the maximum value of one or more contracts that a contractor can perform on a particular address. So that's going to be of importance when you're doing, a TI remodel and you have a contractor with a $10,000 monetary limit, and then you realize you get a bid for him for $25,000. That's one of the things you're going to want to check. And like Mr. Welch mentioned, you want to look at the status of that license. When you look at the license, make sure that it's active, that it's not.
Yeah, about midway down the page, it says active or revoked or voluntary surrendered.
Correct. And then there's an associated date with that. So you can find out when that license was summarily suspended, revoked. There'll be an affiliated date with that, and then subsequently, then you'll get into the disciplinary portion of that complaint. What's important to note that on the bottom, when you go to the website, there is a link that you can click, hyperlink, where it says 5 years or older. So it's kind of the reverse logic. So when you bring up that sheet initially, you're looking at currently the last 5 years worth of discipline. But if the license is older than 5 years, then you're going to probably click that link so you can see the entire history in totality. So that's kind of important to note when you want to go back and look at from the inception of when the license was issued, any discipline that's been rendered on that licensee.
And if you pull up somebody's license and there is none of that information at the bottom, they're clean.
Means they've been good boys and girls.
Good boys and girls.
Correct. Or correct. And you know, they, and like Mr. Welch said, you know, they might have had issues, but they didn't rise to the nature of a disciplinary issue.
Right.
Right. You know, they might have had an issue and then they cured the issue. And like Mr. Welch said, you know, that doesn't become public record.
Yeah, and everybody makes mistakes. I mean, a
Absolutely.
contractor could step out of bounds. One of his employees could step out of bounds. It's very minor. They receive a letter, spanky, spanky, don't do this again. You've been put on notice, but the next time, we're going to talk to you.
Correct.
So the Contractors Board is really consumer friendly. If you have a problem, you can go to the Contractors Board by either calling the phone number 702-486-1100, and it will prompt you and give you things.
That's really sad that you know that number by heart.
I have Julio's.
What's my direct extension?
I have Julio's home phone number if anybody needs it. But in all seriousness, you can go on at 486-1100 if you've had a problem just recently or even today. Tomorrow, the next day, you can go 486-1100, and that phone menu will also prompt you as to how to file a complaint as well.
Correct. And along with the website, you know, you can walk in and file a complaint form. You can call in and it'll walk you through it, or you can go to the website. You know, and then there's a couple key questions. You have to know whether you're dealing with a licensed or an unlicensed contractor, and that'll dictate which form you fill out. And some forms are a little different than the others. A little more proof required on the license side from a documentation standpoint.
Very good, very good. So when a person decides they want to remodel or simply change out a water heater, they really should do their research. I mean, nobody, if you listen to a lot of commercials nowadays, you'll find that people don't even put their phone numbers associated with their companies anymore because nobody's going to remember the phone number. They're going to remember the name. And then the millennials who are going to take over the world soon.
God, that's scary.
Yeah, it is. Oh my God. They're actually just going to Google Aqua Plumbing, and that website will come up. They can find the license number. Then they can go to the Nevada State Contractors Board website, plunk in that license number, and everything they want to know about Aqua Plumbing comes up on the page.
Affirmative.
And they can print it.
Correct.
And then they know they're dealing with a licensed contractor.
Correct. And then if they want to take it one step further and that licensee should have multiple licenses, then they can search by that individual.
They can search by their name, huh?
Correct.
That's very good news. Well, we're going to enter our second commercial break for this hour, and when we come back, we're going to talk about the advantages of hiring a bona fide licensed contractor over a handyman. So please stay tuned, and thank you for tuning in. All right, and we're back. I don't think that was enough commercials. Commercials are fun to listen to.
Wait, before you start, we found out summly is not a word.
I just told you it's a word.
It's not a word.
It's
a
a word.
made-up word in your own head.
It's
that
been-
does not make it a word.
It's been a word since 1970.
When your dad started using it?
When I got my first chore, I only did summly of it. Okay, so it's been a word since 1970. Here we are, 2015. That's 45 years later. It's a word.
Wow.
It's a damn word, I'm telling you.
Whatever, honey.
I'm going to make sure it's a word. Summly. And I can't believe nobody's called in and said it was a verb or not. Probably because they can't find it. You got to go to the Redneck Slang Book Dictionary.
Move on.
Okay, we're going to move on. We are back. We are back. Plumbing 101 with Aqua Plumbing. We've got two esteemed guests here from the Nevada State Contractors Board. For those of you who have just joined us half an hour late, you are officially late. We've been here for half an hour entertaining, and you just tuned in. That makes you late. I think they're on our son's schedule. Late. All right, we were talking about licensed contractors and the advantages of having a licensed we were talking about the Contractors Board. We're going to shift gears. The distinct advantages of hiring a licensed contractor over a potential handyman. We had a little discussion in the green room, and one of the things we were talking about was handyman getting hurt on your property that isn't properly licensed and doesn't have workers' compensation. And with that, I will turn this over to the Contractors Board to give us their thoughts.
Artie, I'd like to go ahead and talk about the law regarding handyman. That's under the NRS 624.031. Handyman can do any work, repair or maintain property the value is less than $1,000, and that includes material and labor. Unless a building permit is required, he cannot perform plumbing, electrical, HVAC. The work of the type to be performed by a licensed contractor in a classification prescribed by the board that significantly affects the health, safety, and welfare of the general public. The work is performed as part of a larger project, and again, it cannot be more than $500, and that is material and labor. And it cannot be used for to evade the provisions of NRS 624. And that's basically the law.
So what you're saying is a handyman can go into a person's house and charge $4.99. They cannot come back a week later and do this again.
That is correct. However, the work cannot include something that requires a permit, i.e. plumbing.
Okay, so if they're going to go in and remodel a bathroom, they're going to need a permit, and a handyman therefore cannot perform that work.
That's the
correct.
logic. You need a permit, and in order to obtain a permit, you need a contractor's license, not a business license.
But a handyman can go in and paint a room, hang a door, put in some baseboard, simple things of that nature.
If the value of the work to include labor and materials is less than $1,000.
Understood. So what if the handyman doesn't have workers' compensation and gets hurt on the job?
That could be a real issue for the homeowner. Obviously, the handyman is going to go after the deep pockets and probably file a claim with the homeowner's insurance company relating to any medical issues that may have happened to that individual.
So the homeowner basically did this to themselves.
Exactly.
I have a thought. Again, as I've said, the homeowner is having work done on their most expensive asset. I think it's prudent for that homeowner to hire a contractor, check up on that contractor, and if you want to make sure the contractor has valid insurance, you can certainly request that from the contractor, and an insurance certificate can be emailed, mailed, faxed, or what have you to that homeowner, so the homeowner has that security, not only in the general liability situation, but also workers' compensation.
Correct. And they, another point to mention is also the bond. When you do the license search, the bond is called out in the license. On the lower part of the of page 1, it references whether they have a surety bond, and we'll mention who the carrier is of that bond, and we'll have all of the information. So if there's an issue with the bond, you can just call us and we'll provide all that information. Like I said, they could either have a surety bond or a cash bond, which we in turn hold the money.
So, and what does the bond mean for the homeowner?
Well, the bond is a guarantee that the work is going to be done properly. And in fact, the way the statute is written, let's say the contractor goes out of business, skips town or whatever it may be. Under the statute, the homeowner can file a claim against the bond for 2 years after the bond is canceled.
Wow, I did not know that.
I didn't know that either.
Yep.
So then that would make the homeowner whole after going through some steps. It's not just going to be, they're not just going to walk into Greg Welch's office and go, I need $2,300 because this guy skated on me. There's an investigation, but it is, again, it's the homeowner is really, truly the one that's going to be favored because the contractor
Was
washed
licensed
out.
and held a bond. Correct.
Right.
Very good. So this residential recovery fund that I understand went into effect a few years back, you guys can elaborate on that, I'm sure.
The Residential Recovery Fund law was passed by the legislature back in 1999.
So a while ago.
Yes, it's been on the books for several years, but it's very interesting that I can still go out on an investigation today and ask a contractor while I'm out there conducting my investigation whether or not he's provided a notice to the homeowner concerning the recovery fund, and I still get a blank stare saying, Greg, what the heck are you talking about? and then I go ahead and brief them to make sure that, yes, in fact, they provide that notice to the homeowner. But it is a statute, and it's been there since 1999.
And all contractors that perform residential work pay into the recovery fund as part of their licensing fees.
So there's a fund that we contractors pay the contractors board to basically hold into a slush fund. And if something goes wrong and a contractor refuses to come back, goes out of business, dies, anything of that nature, the homeowner can be made whole through a series of events and an investigation pursuant to the work that they've had done, paid for, but didn't quite get finished, or they were unhappy with it.
Correct. And like you said, we have to conduct an investigation, validate that, in fact, the homeowner has been financially injured, and then we can move forward to the recovery fund. But I think there's certain thresholds for monetary limits, which I think are $35,000 for one homeowner, and a total on a contractor to be $400,000.
Wow. So that's a significant insurance policy, if you will. That's what it looks like to me. An insurance policy for a homeowner. If you hire a contractor, there's an insurance policy they really don't even know about that could be accessed if a bona fide contractor were to have problems.
Yeah, it is a huge safety net. It's our number one selling point to hiring a licensed contractor is the recovery fund.
And that's one of the things that people need to keep in mind when they hire a handyman. If they're not licensed through the contractors board, the homeowner would have no access to that recovery fund, correct?
That is correct. The homeowner cases would have to pursue civil remedies to recover that cost.
Which is a whole new set of problems.
Outside of us, correct.
Yes.
Well, that's fantastic news. So my suggestion to all of our listeners out there, and I don't know, I'm sure there's other states that have similar rules and laws, Nevada here specifically, and we are based in Las Vegas, Nevada. We do have some very good laws. We've spent a lot of money and a lot of time getting these laws passed through the state legislature for the protection of homeowners, and I hate to hear when I go to talk to a person at their house and they say they've been taken, their house is the shambles, and Aqua Plumbing's got to pick up the pieces. We're very quick to give them our license information, insurance information, because I want them to have a comfort zone that the A team just walked in the door and the Z team is now gone. And you've got to I have to be very careful when I go out and walk projects like this, because the homeowners are very skittish, very upset, don't want to pay any more money out, but they need to realize that they're going to pay a little bit more money to a contractor, and it is really a minuscule amount. We're talking between 4 and 10% more to hire a contractor for all those safety nets that we just discussed today.
We concur, in the money that you pay the contractor far outweighs the liability if something goes wrong that the homeowner will incur with an unlicensed individual.
My scariest thought is you hire a handyman to go up and change 3 tiles on your roof, and he falls off. The shitstorm is getting started right now.
Or you pick up the handyman in a street corner after you buy a ceiling fan. He wires the fan. You go out to do your grocery shopping, you come down, the house is burnt down because you crossed some wires.
Mm-hmm. I never thought of that. Of course, I'm in the plumbing industry. My job is to put that fire out.
Well, we did a fire repair on a house that a handyman went in and changed a water heater out and started the house on fire.
We also did a fire repair for a fireman here in Las Vegas who had a handyman go in and wire in two exhaust fans in arbitrary rooms in the house, and one of them set the house on fire. This dude was a fireman, and
yes.
that's like me building your race car and you go out there and lose a wheel.
That's not acceptable.
It's not acceptable. That is truly not acceptable. But that's a true story. That did happen, yes. Mm-hmm. People don't realize that the water heater, and we've discussed this, the water heater is the single most dangerous appliance in the house.
Yes, it is.
And I tell my students when I'm in class, and we probably cover this 4 or 5 times a year, what powers a locomotive? Steam. What does a water heater produce when it malfunctions? steam. And then I tell everybody to go to YouTube and look up water heater explosions. There are a lot of intentional water heater explosions to show the dynamics of a water heater explosion. And it's really important that you hire a licensed contractor to put a water heater in, because, again, it's the single most dangerous appliance in the house. It truly is. Yesterday, I was driving around and took a picture of a van that said something about water heater repair. And this is not something in my 35 years of the plumbing industry that even crossed my mind. Does a person that fixes and repairs, doesn't necessarily install water heaters, do they need to be a C1 contractor, a plumbing contractor, to perform that? Because it is truly considered an appliance. So what did I do? I contacted the contractors board, because it's not my job.
Because you remember the phone number by heart.
Right. It's not my job to know everything, but it's my job to surround myself with people that I can rely on that do know certain things. And I did certainly call the contractors board and found out that this individual didn't have a C1 plumbing license, but he's out repairing water heaters, and he needs to get a C1 license. So I think I did my civic duty the other day by calling the contractors board and getting my question answered.
And we appreciate that. And digressing back to the install of the water heater, being mindful that a permit is required.
Very correct.
And only a licensed contractor can pull that permit.
So a handyman can't legally set a water heater.
So that's a litmus test for the homeowners.
I see.
The permit is required, and if the handyman shows up, you ask to see the permit, and if he doesn't produce the permit, that's a telltale sign.
And you might be sitting there with, some homeowners insurance companies, they'll do a little investigating and find out a handyman's actually set that water heater, and they'll reduce the monetary limit that the homeowner would receive because it was negligence. And that's really spooky. But again, the guy getting hurt and then going after a serious deep pocket situation is probably the thing that scares me the most, because you're going to lose your house one of two ways. It's going to burn down, flood out, fall down, or you're going to lose it in a court battle. And it all stems from a handyman that's not properly licensed and not properly insured.
Correct. And that homeowner will bore all the liability.
And that is very, very spooky. Well, we've reached our third commercial break here in this 1 hour. It is amazing how fast the time goes when you're surrounded by such good people. Please stay tuned, listen to our commercials, and we'll be back in a few. Thank you. All right, and we are back. We are back with the State Contractors Board today. We want to thank these fine young men for young. Greg's twice my age.
I'm the young one.
Greg's twice my age. He's got a thing on his foot. What happened, Greg?
Oh, I got a little sore on the bottom of my foot.
It's an age thing?
Yeah. And it wasn't healing right, so I went to the doctor. He said, hey, we got to put you in a boot. Okay, fine. But everything's healing up fine.
You didn't go on a job site, someone saw you coming, they turned a board up with a nail up, and you stepped on a nail?
No, hadn't been shot, nothing like that, so it's good. It's all good.
So do you get a warm reception when you show up on a project and people know that they've got problems?
Yeah, there's one experience that I can recall with another investigator in the office, Gordy LaPointe. He had been there about 3 weeks, and we went out on a job site, and the contractor was late. And Gordy and I went ahead and looked at the job, and I went ahead and validated it. And I walked back out to the parking lot, and the contractor showed up. And I was talking to the contractor, and he pulled a 9mm out from underneath his seat. The homeowner...
Are you kidding me?
No. I'm very serious.
Oh, my gosh.
The homeowner happened to see him do this. She was standing right to my right. She immediately ran to her home and called Metro.
Yeah, she hauled ass.
And as soon as I saw the weapon, I told Gordy, get in the car, we're going. And as we were going out the gate, Metro was coming in.
Wow, that was quick.
I've had some interesting experiences in my 16 years with the board.
What was he going to settle with a 9?
I don't know. I don't know if it was,
just going to make things worse.
Threatening, intimidation, whatever you want to call it. I've been involved where I've been out on a job site, and the homeowner and the contractor have come to fisticuffs. I mean, it can get very interesting sometimes.
Now, see, that's where I probably couldn't have your job, because I'd just walk out, lean on my truck, and let it pan out. That's like a UFC ready to go.
Exactly. That's when I leave the scene. I pick up the phone, I call Julio, and I say, hey, guess what?
You're needed on this job site. And that's the one thing that I don't understand. The contractors board has helped us and Aqua Plumbing so often. I mean, because as a licensed contractor, we can go to the contractors board for help also.
That is true.
And they've been so helpful every time we've gone to them.
Well,
so
it helps that you have your ducks in a row too. I mean, you run a very, very tight ship at Aqua Plumbing. You know the laws. You helped get some of the laws passed. You were instrumental in the SLC when it was up and running. Which, incidentally, we're going to talk about that next week. But you not only helped write some laws, but you went up and testified and got some laws put into place, and the contractors board has asked us at the PHCC and Aqua Plumbing to come and testify at the legislative level, because it just betters the contracting world.
Right.
Not just plumbing, but everybody. And when you go to the contractors board, when you have a problem with a B license holder, you have a file that is indexed, you have everything together, and I think that's greatly appreciated by not only the board but the investigators and everybody in the hearing room. So yeah, we have gone to the contractors board against some B contractors in the past, and we've prevailed in 100% of the cases because you know the laws and you have your ducks in a row.
But the reason I mention this is I don't want people to be scared to go to the contractors board or not know what to expect. I mean, that they are very nice. They're very willing to help if you have a valid complaint.
They're people.
Exactly.
When an investigator, and I don't know all of them, but when an investigator comes out to a property, they're people, and they want to listen to the problem, and they want to get the problem resolved, and they want to make sure the consumer is made whole and has what they paid for, and they're the people I've rubbed elbows with at the contractors board in 100% of the cases are very customer friendly, very customer friendly. We've had the contractors board called against us, and we have gone out and made things right, and or the homeowner was informed that that's not right, that's not how contracting works. So it does go both ways. It's really important to contact the contractors board, have them come out, make sure that the contractor's treating you properly.
Agreed. And to Becky's point, the contractors do have recourse against other contractors. I mean, yeah, we're a consumer protection agency, but I think there's been numerous occasions where Aqua Plumbing has filed money owing complaints.
We have.
And we've been able to equitably, resolve those. So the contractors do have recourse against other contractors. There's other statutes too that where there's contractual disputes that we may be able to assist.
Right. Yeah. You guys have been wonderful to Aqua Plumbing,
and we're very very happy with how the contractors board has treated the community. And I would like to see, and I don't know how it would work. We'd have to sit down and talk about it. But I think. And I don't know where the contractors board exactly gets their funding, but I would really like to see some PSAs, public service announcements, possibly television shows, radio shows like this. And I'm going to want Julio to go ahead and say that website again for the contractors board. But I would really like to see the contractors board maybe partake in some PSAs to further educate homeowners more so than other contractors. Well, I mean, we all know the game for the most part. Homeowners really are the ones being harmed out there when they hire somebody that's not licensed. And most of them do it out of ignorance. They don't know.
And I think we do have a couple PSAs that are out there now that are currently airing, and I know this for a fact. I don't know the magnitude or all the details affiliated with it, but I know there's several PSAs in the pipeline right now.
Wonderful. That is wonderful. Because again, the homeowner, they just don't know.
Yep. And I know we've spent a bunch of money in getting resources and getting the different cameras and stuff, so we are going to be aggressively pursuing additional PSAs. But that website, again, is www.nscb.nv.gov.
Very good. And one last question. On Aqua Plumbing's website, can we put your website on our website? Is that legal? Is that allowed?
A link.
A link? That'd be fantastic. I think we need to talk to IT people. We need to talk to Tony, and it's an aid. It really, we're partners, and we need to show that.
Well, you're expediting the due diligence that the homeowner would undertake.
We feel like it's our job to protect the homeowners. Again, I walk into houses all the time, and they're just a disaster. We are out of time. Nobody called in to tell me if, what was that word?
I'm not even telling you.
Okay, that word's dead.
The word's dead.
That word's dead. Thank you all for joining us. Please tune in next Tuesday, 2 o'clock. I believe we're going to have Tom Jones here from to talk about his water heaters and all the fancy things that go on with those. Until next time, next Thursday, 2 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, thank you for tuning in to Aqua Plumbing, Plumbing 101. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.